Great.
Doing great.
Awesome. Yeah, so we are live, guys. One of the purposes of this live episode tonight is just to give you guys a little Q&A with the Bear guys on what they're doing, kind of what's coming out, what they've already launched, and maybe some ideas for Christmas since it is around the corner. And if you haven't bought that archery gift for your loved one, this is a great time to do it. So we are thinking this would be a great conversation to have and allow you guys to talk to Bear Archery directly. So keep it clean or you'll be banned. And so if you guys have Q&A questions about the new Refine or any of their bows, you can go ahead and ask now. Bear has done an excellent job in this marketplace at all levels of archery, and I think we're seeing that. We've seen it with the Golden Arrow Awards where you guys placed. Everything is starting to really come together for you guys, and it's been a joy to watch, to be honest. And like we were just talking about, I keep my Fred Bear Bible right here, and it's important because we're still pushing the sport of archery, loving archery, and doing as much as we can. And there is no better company to do it than Bear Archery. I think you guys are doing a great job with that. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
Yeah, Brian comments cracking me up here. He's not wrong. We should have had the wives on the podcast if we're talking about gifts, right?
So guys, tell us about 2022, I guess. Maybe what's new? Let's go that direction, I guess.
Well, I'll hit a couple quick because, as you guys remember from our launch earlier, there was 8 compound bows. So I don't want to take all of our time going over everything, but some of the highlights and some of the things that we're seeing doing great so far since we launched in October is the Refine, which is our flagship on the Legend series. So kind of our best of the best. The bow's doing great. We made it a little bit longer than last year's model, so it balances better. Kept the EKO cam on it. So, when we talk about gifts and things like that, always making sure something fits someone right. That's where we feel like Bear bows, all of our bows would be really good when you talk about our adjustments. You don't have to buy mods. You can do almost all the adjustments without a bow press. So, the Refine is 342 speed, so it's definitely a performance bow, but you still have the adjustment of 26.5 draw to 30.5, which would fit almost all adult males as that goes, pretty close. And then 45 to 60 pound limbs or 55 to 70, and then you can still adjust your let off. That would work in multiple states as that goes from 75, 80, 85, and 90. So if you're looking for something that would work for most people, like the Refine definitely would fit that bill, and it's definitely our flagship this year. And as we talked about before, we wanted vibration out of this bow, so very much so. And so far it's doing really well. We're getting a lot of good reports of people already hunting with them and a lot of good success. And of course we give a lot of them out to pro staffers and things like that, and we're hearing some great stuff, not just specs but real proof that it is definitely a top end hunting bow.
Absolutely. And if you're just joining real quick, we're live with Bear Archery. If you guys have questions about their lineup, feel free to ask. We were talking about the Refine bow, a great shooting bow, and it's at the top of its class, no doubt about it. I see some comments rolling in, and this is actually a good one because I can say this now because it works out great. So thank you guys for taking part in this because every year we do this Christmas special. Bear always does something for this, and this year you guys gave a lot, so thank you for that. Jeff from Pennsylvania, how are you? Ooh, good question. Here's a good question. Is Bear Archery offering heavy limbs, the 75 plus limb?
So, I saw that come by too and was writing that down. No, we don't currently. Right now, everything tops out at 70. Some bows, we spec them right at 70. So you get 71, 72, nothing really heavier than 72 because we consider that out of spec. But it's a great comment. We have talked a lot about it. It seems like the market kind of goes back and forth on if people want that heavier or not want that heavier. We just haven't produced anything over 70.
I haven't seen. I know there are bow companies who make a 70 plus pounder, but I don't know anybody personally owns one, and I think most of the time it's used in a Western type hunting long distance. And the only reason I say that is I was talking to a friend out there one time, and he said that his average shot is 60 yards. So I'm thinking maybe that has something to do with it if they need that extra push or something. But I ain't pulling it. So don't send me anything over 70, guys. I'm not even testing it. Don't even think about it. I'll break my arm trying to get that thing back. So
I do think there's some push for it more and more. Is not just us, but there's a lot of really great cams on the market right now. I'd include, of course, our EKO in there. So when you get some of those smooth, really good cams to draw back, you technically can go a little heavier in poundage, and it's not horrible on your shoulders and body. And so I think that's why you're starting to see a little bit more draw for it again. But traditionally, no, it's a lot. But when you got 90% let off, it's not a lot that you're holding, if you know what I mean.
yeah, so Jason, your comment, I love this comment because it actually fits bear archery so well. And when you say to afford a new one, man, I'm telling you right now, go to their website and go to the lineup. I'm actually going to, you know what, I'll post the link right now because I'm looking at it while we're speaking. They have the most flexibility in pricing that you're ever going to find in a bow company. So they will have something you can afford, hands down. So just check that out. In one of those bows, that's a really exciting bow. And I think that because of the flexibility of this bow, what it can do, and where it's going with the draw lengths, the legit is a legit bow. I mean, it is one of my favorite bows you guys did, mainly because of the flexibility of what it fits. I don't know, Ryan, if you could tell us a little bit about that, and then maybe a little bit about the two packages you can get it in.
Yeah. Oh, I love to talk about the Legit. So Legit is one that we launched a year ago. We added some new colors, some things like that to just make it a little to that gift thing. So you can adjust the draw length from 14 to 30 inches with no bow press. You can do that just at home. And the poundage range on this bow is from 10 to 70. So literally, I can tell you when we were developing this bow, like I had at that point in time, my 8-year-old daughter with that bow set up so I could see if she thought the mass weight was too heavy and some things like that. And then also, of course, then I was shooting it. And so you would adjust that poundage up and just change your draw length. So really can fit anybody. And, if you're able to look at the website, I would try to push everybody because it's a complete modern bow. I mean, so you've got great laydown in the limb still, so you get really, really good balance. It's a dual cam, so it's very smooth, easy to draw, especially like if you're youth and you're starting out, so we don't develop any bad habits with trying to pull something that's not smooth or too heavy, because you can adjust it to make sure it's not too heavy. And then, of course, keep adjusting it up. And you still get like good speed. I think 315 is what we list that bow at. It's still very light. It's only 3.8 pounds. So again, even you can dress it up and make it heavier if you want. But it's done extremely well in the line, and it shoots so well. And it's an opening price point bow in the market nowadays. So I mean, you'll see that bow out there for $419. So you're getting a lot of bow for that price point.
Yeah, 10 to 70 pounds is crazy.
Huge range. So, yep.
Jumping in here. So for 2022, Ryan, also there's some new camo finishes, which are pretty exciting. Obviously, adding Bottomlands is a fan favorite. And then we've got some pretty cool throwback editions too.
So Alec, tell us a little bit about, from a marketing perspective, having the ability, and if you guys don't know Alec, he does the marketing at Bear. He's absolutely amazing at this job. Does a great job. But tell us about what it's like to market the Fredbear camo, because to be honest, this has been something that, I feel like
first sight. Yep.
I would love to see it on everything. Like, I want this shirt to be that camo. Like, honestly, like, it is so cool. Like,
yeah, so would I.
So many things you guys are always thinking about what you can do with it.
No, so the coolest thing about the Fredbear camo is just seeing how rapidly it's kind of taken over in terms of just all consumers and all of our customers loving it as well. So it's become more and more common across the bow lineup. And that's directly a result of people wanting it on different models. But to see it expand across bows, and then we've got some apparel pieces, we've got cornhole boards. It's really cool to see the industry really responding positively to a more traditional, a very traditional camo pattern versus a lot of the present day camos that everybody's familiar with.
I'll tell you, those cornhole boards, they came in handy at hunt camp this year. We had quite a fun time. Where we hunt, it's in Michigan, so it's cold, but we're blessed to actually we sleep in a hangar, right? So a big open warehouse building. So we were able to put those cornhole boards in the hangar and have some fun after the sun went down with a couple pops. So it was a good time.
I'm not surprised. Dave said they'd come in handy the minute he saw them pop up on the website. So
this guy over here, he freaking all of a sudden out of nowhere, he was terrible for like 3 games, and all of a sudden he's like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? And then like the other 2 guys, like Jamie and Brian, were like unbelievable at this game. Like I'm like, dude, what is happening? Like I'm like the weakest link. This is terrible. Let's see
you
here.
made this ride there a couple times, but
there was a question for you guys. I just want to have you answer in case Mike loses signal here. He's talking about how long does Bear Archery think it will take until a compound bow tops 400 feet per second? What a good question. Ryan, that's got to go to you. What are you thinking?
It's a good question. I mean, nothing's impossible there. I would say, there's times where we really focus on speed, and then there's times where we don't. We just kind of put it as part of the equation. So I do know there was, for a long time, it was all about speed. But lately, all of us have really been pushing more to have a complete bow, meaning that it's still very shootable, a lot of balance. So accuracy has become, everybody just thinks because you hit specs, you make something accurate, which isn't true, right? So we work a lot on stability, wider limb pockets, things like that to try to make the bow shoot better at longer distances and not always speed. Now, don't get me wrong. There are lots of tweaks and things we do to these bows to get every bit of speed we can on them, especially when we get down to the strings and some of the things we do in the cams. But I don't know. There was some 370s and 380s on the market for a while, and then it's kind of just slowed down and settled into that 340, 350 is where the market seems to be right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I want to mention real quick, because I forgot to mention about with Alec, is that the truck you guys did, the Fredbear Camo truck.
Yeah, for sure.
That was phenomenal. I just want to throw that out there, because if you guys haven't seen it, I think we actually did a podcast with the clips of that truck in there, and you can find it. Total Archery Challenge. Just search Fredbear truck. It'll come up. But it looks, oh my god, that looked amazing. So guys, when we talk about the bows that you guys have, one of the most important parts of what you guys offer consumers, in my opinion, is the ready to hunt packages. And so for a consumer to go buy a bow and everything's ready to go at these prices, to me, it's a very helpful thing in that. Can you guys talk a little bit about, and I don't care which one you guys want to do this, but the ready to hunt compared to the ready to hunt extra, and just kind of maybe break those down?
Yeah, I can talk about it. So ready to hunt is what I would say your typical package. So you get a trophy ridge sight with ours. Most of them are 4-pin. There is some variation. And then you would get a Whisker Biscuit, and then we've changed almost all those over to our new V-Rest, which is the newest edition of the Whisker Biscuits. Then you get a stabilizer and a quiver and a wrist sling, a peep, and a D-loop. So really everything you need to just get shooting, minus arrows and release and points, right? And then the extra is just one step above that. It comes with everything. So you're getting arrows that are pre-inserted and pre-cut with 100-grain field tips in them. And then you are also they're overspined, so to say. So we do the extra kit for the Royale, and it would work on the Royale whether you're shooting the bottom or the top of the draw range and weight. And we do the same on the legit. So whether you're using the bottom or the top, the arrows that come with it, the Trophy Ridge Wrath arrows would work. So that's how we spine them. So they're overspined for certain sizes, but that's much better than being underspined. Also comes with extra inserts. So if you buy those arrows and they're 30 inches and you're like me, that's only 26-inch arrows because of a shorter draw, you can cut them and the inserts are already in there. So you could reinsert them and put your field tips back in there and you're ready to go. It also comes with broadheads. So if you do plan to hunt with the bow, which is obviously kind of what that package is designed for, you've already got the broadheads, down the arrows, the field tips, and it also comes with the Trophy Ridge release. So literally, you buy one item and you have everything you need to shoot. You just need to go get a target. So of
That's
some
crazy.
sort, and you are ready to go. We really did that with everything happening in the world the last year. We really thought we needed something like that, so it'd be easier for the consumer just to go to, anybody's.com, including our own, and be able to purchase one of these and at least get started and get the bow. So then you could always take it to your local pro shop or Bass or Cabela's or anybody else that would be able to help you work on it if needed. But as I've mentioned a couple times, we make sure our bows are able to be worked on best we can with the bow press. So like the Legit, it has a dial on the cam, the top and bottom cam, because you have to adjust both because it's a dual cam that says like 24, 26, 27, 28. Well, that's your draw. So if you you measure your wingspan and you're 27 or however you figured, or you just know, then you put that cam to 27 inches. And then we also inside our manual say if you turn the limb bolts out 2 times and 27 inches, I don't have the specs in front of me, it'd be like 62 pounds or whatever it happened to be. Then and you can do some of the setup just on your own if you want. And the last couple of years it's been tough to get to retail locations in some states, so made it a little bit easier. And then you still had everything you need to hunt, because we are truly a hunting company, so we want you to shoot and do whatever makes you happy, but if you can hunt, that definitely makes us happy too.
Yeah, for sure. And when we talked earlier in the year about the launch, when you guys launched, I believe you said, and you guys have to correct me if I'm wrong, but how many bows did you guys launch for 22? Was it like 7?
Yeah, we 7, and then kind of like a youth in between type bow that we call the Pathfinder. So we say 8.
Okay, so you said to me in the show, and I asked you, like, how does it work? Do you start with the refine and then you go down? You said no, we do all of them all the time. We're like going back and forth. I'm like, wow. I'm like, holy cow. And I thought that was really interesting, because I just would assume you'd start with this flagship, but then I didn't realize and think through that, wait a minute, well, they have all these other, price points. They still have to put something out for those, and not thinking like, oh, wait a minute, because the one's not really more important than the other is my point. I was like,
And then,
dang.
so that's just 8 compounds. That's not even taking into account crossbows,
Yeah.
traditional bows. So.
And that's an amazing amount to put out, to be honest with you. I don't think any other manufacturer comes close, but I don't think they can. I mean, from where we talked before, I mean, what you guys do from an engineering standpoint, testing standpoint, and what you guys do in the background to get these out of here, I think only Bear is really ready to kind of put that type of stuff out there. And I mean, launching 8 bows in 1 year, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go to some questions real quick, and these will obviously most likely be for Ryan because they're technical. But what is the Bear Legends? What is the Bear Legends balance as far as weight, top heavy, or is Bear pushing weight to the bottom of the pocket?
So we try to keep them pretty centered. Now, I'll also say we're talking about the 8 new ones, but the line's over 16 bows, so they don't all exactly balance the same. So on our higher end, like a refine, it's very slightly weight forward, very slightly. So meaning a little bit at the top, and that's by design. So then you can still, we've got different adapters and things on the back, so you can adjust how that bow goes. Because I like a very slow forward. A lot of target shooters like it to be, some like it to be very aggressive, and then some kind of, put sidebars and things like that on it to keep it to where it's very balanced. So it's very slight forward on some of our higher end, but then as you get down the line, so to say, where we think this might be your first bow or you're getting into it, we try to keep that very balanced. So like a Legit, the weight is very, very centered. That way you can, it's just a little bit easier when you're starting to shoot that way. And then of course you can start to adjust that very easily with stabilizers and things like that. But that's a great question.
Another question came in. It's interesting. I think it might be more of a comment, but it says, instead of building a pure speed bow, someone needs to start out with a 500 plus grain arrow and develop the bow around efficiency, building performance with that weight. Any thought to that, Ryan? I guess, do you guys ever look at it from a weight perspective, like starting out with a heavy arrow like that, or?
So we definitely do. We have some great partners in the industry right now that they definitely like to shoot a much heavier arrow. So it's something we think about quite a bit and have been thinking about, especially this last year or so. So, and some of that even goes into our RTH packages. So the Whisker Biscuits and the V Biscuit handle heavier weight arrows very, very well. And so that's some of the reasons we put some of those on there. Also, like that Dhc Cam. So our new cam that we launched this year on the Alaskan and the Resurgence, which are new bows for us. So when we were developing that cam, this came into mind quite a bit. So you want, when you're shooting something heavy like that, obviously you're going to start to slow the bow down, right? So we all test our bows at what's called an ATA spec for the IBO speed. And with that, it's a very light arrow, right? So when you start to shoot a heavier arrow, it's starting to slow stuff down. But what we're trying to do is get it to be very efficient. So when you start to paper tune, you're shooting bullet holes and some things like that, as long as everything's spined. So when we're testing and developing the cams, we keep in mind all kinds of different arrows. So not just heavyweight arrows, but also now where there's a trend of having smaller diameters that are heavy and then larger diameters that are heavy. I mean, the arrow market has a lot of great technology in it right now too. So we're trying to make sure that our cams are really matching up with how basically any arrow that you're going to push through there. So it flies very well. And it gets super complicated because then you start talking about where center shot is and where the center of the bowstrings are going through the bow. So we make sure we keep all that in mind really on every model to see how it's gonna affect it, and definitely every cam.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree 100%. That sounds amazing. Thinking of it in that direction, I guess. I've never thought of it that way. Like, oh, hey, let's start with the weight. But that's a good idea, and I never even considered it.
I don't know that we actually start with the weight, but we do try to keep it in mind.
Yeah, got it. And then the Resurgence, that was a amazing shooting bow. I was very happy with that bow, by the way. And I think that when we were shooting them, I was like, wow, this thing's really, really something, And I hate to bring this one back up, and I know this is like old school and not even like new for you guys by any means. But let's talk about the Whisker Biscuit, okay? I know it's been around for years and years, but the thing about the Whisker Biscuit is, for those who don't use one, it is literally the most simplest, easiest rest I've ever used. And I'm not exaggerating when I say I've used the Whisker Biscuit. I've set up a bow the day before I've hunted and killed deer with it. I mean, it is absolutely incredible, and I always carry an extra one in my little box, my toolbox, because I'm like, this is like.
And pretty much fail-proof. There's other ones out there that maybe the little string breaks or comes detached that can mess up your hunt, but that's not happening.
Yeah, I know you guys got new ones and stuff. I just gonna throw out there, the Whisker Biscuit is gonna live in this heart for a long time. You know what I'm saying? That thing is amazing.
Yeah, we like the new ones too, but the Whisker Biscuit's kind of like the Kleenex of rest, so it'll always be around for us.
Best, man. So Alec, talk to us a little bit about the marketing side of Bear. I mean, there's a lot going on here, man. You're talking all these new bows. You got traditional, you got crossbow stuff. I guess tell us a little bit from your perspective, like what is it you guys start to do? What are you looking at? How does it come together?
So really, I work really closely with Ryan and our other product managers from really early on to start developing kind of a plan on what the narrative is going to be and why we're developing X product and who it's going, to target. So it really is a full team effort to develop that narrative and kind of how we're going to approach it and pitch it to consumers so that it makes sense. And, they want to go in and try it out and get the bow in their hand or get an accessory into their hands. But it's definitely, we've got a really great team, and we all wear a lot of hats to get stuff done and get it across the finish line. But it's been a unique trip since, I've joined the team. And I would just say the growth that the brands have seen these last couple of years with the launch of all the new product. And, that's the unique thing about the industry is it's constantly changing. So it's how do we adapt, or how quick can we adapt to kind of accommodate the needs and wants of our customers?
Absolutely. And I think, like I said, you guys have done a great job. It's definitely, I feel like bear started really turning a corner right around the carnage time. And it started just, I mean, engineering wise, just going straight up. It's been an amazing thing to see and to be a part of. Well, as you know, speaking of Trophy Ridge, you know, one of the other products that, I mean, there's a lot of great products at Trophy Ridge, let's say that. But one of the other products that to me is like home run, you know, grand slam, besides a Whisker Biscuit, we know I'm going to say that one, but the Hex Light Quivers, the lighted Quivers. I mean, this is genius beyond genius. This is like, I'm a hunter. I use a green light and a red light to go out, whatever. Now you guys have put it on the quiver, front and back. So I know I should say that, a front and underneath. So therefore, I can literally carry my bow and turn that light on and walk to my tree stand. When I get up to the top and it's still dark, I can flip the other light on and see the broadhead come out and not cut my hand or make a mistake. It is literally one of the coolest things I've ever seen when it comes to simple. It's not even like, you know, it's a simple concept, but very, very well done. So I guess, how's that going for you guys? I see you guys launched a new one, a dealer exclusive, the Light 1 Pro.
Yeah, so it's going really well. The days of fumbling with a flashlight or a headlight and messing around and tying up your hands in the field are over. If you don't have a hex light on your bow, you're missing out, because it really makes everything so much easier and efficient. And I mean, it works just as well as any flashlight that I've ever used in the field. From that standpoint, but the Light 1 Pro is a little bit more compact and a little bit lighter than the Hex Light for, you know, people that are shooting a smaller axe or shorter axle bow. But it's taken off really well since we launched it, you know, a couple months ago now.
I'll have to say too, it's amazing in a ground blind if you ever hunt that type of style, because then you really don't need any flashlight, but it's darker in a ground blind, and you know, you drop something, you can't find it. I can't tell you how many times I've taken the quiver off the bow and then shined it like a flashlight so I could find something I dropped.
Awesome,
you know, when it's 4 a.m. and you're
That makes sense. That makes sense for sure.
So Brian's got a couple good questions here, and there's one for marketing and one for engineering. So I'll start with the marketing one real quick so Alec can go. But it says, Alec, what are your expectations from dealers as far as availability and shipping due to some of the bows online showing sold out?
So all of our bows are manufactured down in Gainesville, for anyone that's watching that isn't familiar, down in Gainesville, Florida. And we've got 3 shifts running round the clock to get bows out as fast as we possibly can. Right now, the industry is obviously seeing a huge increase in demand. So everybody, I mean, we've all heard supply chain issues, and it's no different for our team. So we are grinding around the clock to try and get bows out as fast as possible. And if something pops up as available online and it's even remotely on your radar, all I could say is jump on it, because our inventory levels are changing so rapidly that if it's available, it might not be available an hour or 2 hours or even a day for when you see it jump online.
Excellent. And if you guys are just joining or on, if you have any other questions with Bear, please list them soon, because we won't be on much longer. Just wanted to give you like a 5-10 minute warning here. But Todd, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. John, everybody stopped in, Chris. And some of your comments I'll just post on the wall. I mean, if we've already talked about, just so people can see that, you know, like the Whisker Biscuit comment. Absolutely. All right. So the engineering question from Brian was, is there any effects from the refined EKOs where the cable guide may prevent one from using more than 3 fletchings or vanes?
So I'm
4 maybe?
Yep. I'm thinking they're probably saying 4. No, there shouldn't be. So, nope, there won't be. So we use what we call our roller guard hinge system on that. So that we've been using for years. Of course, we tweak it a little bit different for each bow model we put it on. But no, you shouldn't have any issues at all. Would definitely clear it.
So I know it's not the season for it, and we're not going to talk a ton about this, no problem. But I just want to make sure everybody understands that you guys also have Cajun archery, and there's, you know, bow fishing. This is something that's very exciting to me, especially come next year. I want to get more involved in that and get out. And we're actually in February, we're going to Florida, so I was trying to figure out if we can gator hunt with them or something, or do some bow fishing down in Florida. I was like, maybe there's a way. You know, Kevin's like, oh, we got to figure this out. This would be fun, but that's always a spring thing, I know. But you guys do host an event for that, right?
Yeah. So we've got the Cajun 8 bow fishing tournaments every August. Next year will be the 8th year actually that we've hosted it. It's in the past it's been 80 teams. We cap it, which is why it's a limited tournament. This past year, 2021, we actually opened it up to 100 teams, and we're able to sell out for all the slots that we allotted this year. So it's definitely a great time. We've got a ton of prizes, and then it's a limited 8. So it's your heaviest 8 fish that ends up determining the ranking. But both Tim and Dave, you guys got to come down to Evansville and we'll take you out. I mean, we've got Cajun 8 boat and a ton of great fishing spots right local.
I love it.
Office.
That sounds awesome. Like I feel like those are the types of things that are just fun adventures. You know, I just like to be able to go out and shoot like that. It'd be so sweet.
Yeah, I love
Plus, I don't even have to bring a bow.
fishing, right? I mean, it's not like a little bit different than what we do up in Michigan, whitetail hunting, or you're sitting in the woods and all that kind of stuff. The action around bow hunting or bow fishing, I absolutely love. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we
You
got
get
to
a
see
lot
it
of
up
shots.
here, and we got to go see it once, and it was very cool to see. We're like, wow, this is really something. Oh, good question from Cedar. This is a great question, actually. Are you seeing an increase in traditional archery versus compound?
So I think maybe last year's podcast we talked about this
We did.
a
We did
little
talk
bit.
about this.
Yeah. So I would say yes. So we're seeing increases on traditional and compound, but what we see that's kind of fascinating that we like is you're seeing a lot of compound shooters go to traditional is what we're seeing, and that's what we talked about before, which is great. And I think it's just they clearly love archery, and then now they're starting to want to get even that, I'd say, kind of next level experience, so to say. Both experiences are great. Obviously, I'm a compound guy, but I have a bunch of traditional stuff back there too. It's fun to try to do it a couple different ways, and then sometimes it's just nice to mix it up. So we see a lot of that, and of course we offer a full line on the traditional side. I mean that was kind of where Fred started, and of course he also helped pioneer the compound. So we have great heritage on both lines.
Absolutely. I think it's incredible. Traditional to me is obviously where it started, and that's where it's gone, and what you guys have been able to accomplish. And speaking of which, I recommend highly you guys can go on to Bear's website, and they do have content about Fred Bear. There's a biography, and I actually, this one I didn't see on there just now, but I'm pretty sure I got this from you guys at some point. But this is a great book. I actually keep it right next to me, and I use it on the podcast a lot because there's a lot of things in here you can always go back to with some Fred quotes. That's for sure. All right, let's see what other questions we got. Anything else, Tim, on there?
No, there wasn't much that I saw. There's a comment about your customer service I saw earlier today, just touting your guys' customer service and how good it is. So, I mean, that again, just to me speaks to the type of company that you guys are working for, and Bear being such a powerhouse in the industry and being for the hunter, for the consumer, and not only, the customer service, but what you guys give out product wise. So really, really good stuff as always from you guys.
Yeah. Do you guys, anything else you guys wanted to leave everybody with?
So we just came out with that holiday guide. I know that we had kind of discussed that, but there's a lot of great ideas for people like myself that save shopping till the last minute. So check out the holiday guide. There's some pretty neat, there's bows, there's accessories, and then there's just other kind of gear that we offer on the website, but that's up and live for everybody that's interested.
Awesome. And then I'm going to leave you guys with this message, and I already read it for these two guys before we start, but I'm going to read it for the audience because I think it was such a cool thing from Fred Bear, and it really makes me feel like, the heritage is continued with you guys and the team. But it says, and this is Fred Bear speaking, not me. I'm just reading it from this thing. It says, "Dear Pop, Hank has told you all the news. I am busy as hell getting things in shape for going to British Columbia this fall. Have a new line of bows for next year. Each year we find a way to make them better. I don't know where it will stop." And I think, to me, that passage is so important because it really says a lot about Bear Archery. And it's like, where is it going to stop? And the answer is, it probably is never going to stop. It's amazing. And every year we get to see more and more, So I just think it's amazing. So thank you guys so much for doing this. And I appreciate everybody who came on, commented. And we look forward to seeing everybody and maybe even some of you guys here at the Christmas special when it comes up here in a couple of weeks. So thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you
Dave.
very much.
Yeah, nice seeing you guys again.
All right, we'll see you guys.